Welcome back to another toy review. Look, it's the amazing, magical, mystical con man of special effects, Mysterio. It's another Spider-Man 90s animated series themed Marvel Legends figure. This one was bought for me by my wonderful wife for Christmas. She knew there was a couple of these that I really, really wanted, so she tracked down this bad boy. I've wanted a comic book Mysterio for a long time, despite having had one. The last one I had was the Toy Biz Spider-Man Classics one, with the rotating head feature where like you press the thing on the back of his, sort of on his back, and underneath there was a head, there was a human face, an alien face, and like a demonic face, and a little light in the dome. So Mysterio's dome was black, and the head rotated, and each time you pressed the button it rotated, and the face was illuminated to present this creepy face with inside the dome. Problem is, of course, it meant that his dome was black, because it was blacked out, which is not really how Mysterio looks. Also, it was massive to accommodate the rotating head play feature. Also, the figure had a quality control issue because he had two right thighs. So his left leg was always buckled out to the side. It's not one of my favourites. I've always wanted a more classic Mysterio, and this line, based on the 90s animated series, has delivered something more akin to what I've wanted. Now, I've said in the previous reviews for figures from this line, I'm not a huge fan of the 90s animated series. As a kid, I kind of enjoyed it. But the older I got, I've looked back at it and realised it's a pile of shite. However, it was a gateway for a lot of people of my age and even younger to getting into Spider-Man, so I can't exactly knock it, really. It did its job. But if you want to watch good Spider-Man animated series, go and watch The Spectacular Spider-Man from the late 2000s. Anyway, he comes packed with Marvel's Mysterio, because he's one of the characters who you need the Marvels at the start for some reason. He comes packed with a quote-unquote hypnotic mist, which actually looks more like tentacles. And I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Let's learn a bit about Quentin Beck, shall we? Bio on the back reads: a cloud of smoke heralds the arrival of the villainous mastermind who uses the art of illusion against Spider-Man. Mysterio! There he is. Apparently, there is a head beneath the dome. Ooh, spoopy. Also, look for, of course, we've reviewed Spider-Man because I wanted him. I didn't have a classic Spider-Man. I'm glad I picked him up because now scalpers sell him for a ridiculous price. I'd quite like Peter Parker at the time of this recording. He's in my wish list, link in description if you want to be a nice, generous, lovely person. If not, no obligation. Green Goblin I picked up. Did a review of him. Bloody love that figure. Do you know what? Auto-zoom. Autofocus is having a barn here, so let's give him a bit of distance. Gwen Stacy, which we picked up. First figure we reviewed of this wave. Bloody love the toy. I'm not in a rush to get the Daredevil, really, because his 90s animated series look isn't for me. It's very Shadowland, which I'm not huge on. And my Toy Biz Electro is still pretty decent, so unless you really want me to get a hold of this guy, I'm going to stick with the one I've got. But, you know, let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a review of Electro. Without further ado, you're used to the packaging by now. It's this beautiful callback to the 90s toys. Let's get him open. Beware the menace of Mysterio! This is a pretty sweet base figure. So, dead simple. He's got all the articulation you'd come to expect from a modern Hasbro Marvel Legends figure. He has ankle joints. He has got a nice calf swivel hidden at the top of his boots, which, because of how wide they are, doesn't look too weird when you turn it. There isn't too much of that weird little shelf that can develop. He has a swivel at the top of the thighs, socket joint there at the crotch. He has a waist swivel hidden amongst all of the textured, I might add, stripe prints. Other companies, or even this same company, a moment prior to this in time, may have just provided a simple green body with a painted-on crisscross pattern, but no, this is part of the texture of the figure. It is ridged for your pleasure. It's got a bit of a butt on him. Check him out. He's got a hole in the back, that'll become clear why later. Arms are the standard articulation you'd expect. Shoulder, swivel at the upper arm. Double joint on the elbow. No swivel in the wrist, but that's because the gauntlets he's wearing are quite thick, with two C's. So you wouldn't want them to get caught or snag. However, he does turn at the wrist. Be very careful, because the wrist articulation is stiff, and these fingers bend. They ruddy bend. His little pinky finger was out here when I opened him, and when I tried to move his hand, I've squished it a little, and the plastic is already warped slightly, so be super careful with that. This hand's nice. It's a nice splayed sort of magic hand. The hypnotic mists are sculpted in a way that they fit perfectly around his ankles, and that lines up with the bottom of his shoe. There, that curve. And that lines up with the bottom of his shoe on this side, the curve. There are flatter weighted parts to give away which bits go on the floor. But I had a little play around before this, and because this one in particular is quite light, in fact they both are, really, but this one's got a bit more of a chunk to it, whereas that one's a bit more malleable, like it's a rubbery plastic, so it moves a little. You can, if you wanted, attach them to his arms, have like one of his arms outstretched perhaps, you know, and loop it around his hand to make it look like he's shooting mist from his gauntlets. But I think, you know, display wise, probably best to put around his ankles. You probably noticed as well, his head. Mysterio has got a distinct translucent visage. Now I can't remember what Quentin Beck looked like in the animated series, but this sort of looks like generic handsome man head, like a Peter Parker sculpt almost, that's just translucent, you know? Which is a very cool effect. But Quentin Beck traditionally sort of looks like, I don't know, like one of the Three Stooges, you know, bowl haircut, sour chops, you know what I mean? So it's a bit, yeah. But then again, this could be part of an illusion, so who cares, really? You're not going to be using this head very often, because what you are going to be doing, of course, more often than not, is wearing the goldfish bowl. So this is one piece, which is probably for the best. I guess you could pop that. I don't want to take the risk. I would rather keep it in. It's two separate bits stuck together. I don't know if it's glued or if it's just screwed. Maybe there's another review on here where someone's managed to get it out and have fun with it and keep it safe. I don't want to risk it. We've got the lovely little eyes on his lapels. Old school classic Mysterio. There is a subtle texture pattern in the underside of the cape. That is very appreciated. Really overplays the magician kind of element of Mysterio as a master of illusion. And the cape is bunched at the back like a hood, like a cloak, like it would be if it had been gathered around a big fishbowl instead of a normal neck. So that's what the hole in the back is for, to line it up with this bit on the cape so you can keep it nice and sturdy. So let's center his head, put it on, plug it in. There we are. Now, of course, when you're just getting some classic looking Mysterio gubbins, that is absolutely perfect. It's what you want. There he is. And I think the choice to have the cape and goldfish bowl be separate from the actual head gives you, you know, more articulation options on the body. But it's Mysterio, so you're not really going to have him twisting his shoulders round or flapping his arms back so much. Does the cape get interrupted by the mists? A little bit. But if you're just picking a pose for him to be in, which is what I'll be doing mostly for display or photography, no, that's fine. I do think that's a bit too much of a gap between the cape and the head. Like, it's almost like the cape is hovering above him a little too much. If maybe there were, I don't know, tighter sculpt, or I don't know. I don't really know. Like a way for this to fix in place on his chest, but then you lose the option of him without it and it being that clean green suit. Essentially, it's a mixed bag. As far as like play goes and posability options, you're a little limited. But if you pick a pose you like, and like I'm going to be doing on a shelf, and you just sort of take advantage of how it looks, the paint scheme, the sculpt, it's a pretty damn solid piece. And as a massive Spider-Man fan, I'm delighted to finally have a classic Mysterio that doesn't look like its head is a light bulb shoved into the torso of an action figure. This time he looks like old goldfish bowl head, like he's meant to. Mysterio, the Spider-Man Classics wave. Big yes from me. If you want to pick up this figure yourself, please do. Let me know what sold it to you in the comments. If you have other thoughts on this figure or questions about it that I've not answered here in the video, then put them in the comments below. If you want to buy a figure specifically for me to review, let me know and I'll put it on my Amazon wishlist. Link is in the description. You'll of course get a shout out, video dedicated to you. If not, no obligation. Don't worry about it. I still review stuff I buy myself all the time. I'll see you around next time. We've got one more, as of this recording, one more Spider-Man 90s style action figure Marvel Legend to review. And he's a big boy. See you next time.